welcome to A-List Entertainment. I'm your host, Dale Brown. Today guest, producer, filmmaker, welcome Jacquil Constant.
Yes.
From the Haitian Film Festival. So Jacquil, what brought you out here today?
I just came out here just to let you know about, I'm the executive director of the Haiti International Film Festival. I'll let you know this is our 5th annual film festival, and we're having the film festival is going to be on Xerb TV, and we're going to have a whole exciting day of programming for you, from short films to documentaries and feature films. So we have 10 films, 7 short films, and 3 feature films. So I mean, we have 2 amazing panels for you. One is a producers panel, and we have another panel that is the Haitian creative panel, just to show a different side of the Haitian community and the Haitian diaspora.
Right. So what is it like coming up with a concept for a movie, or with all the social issues going on in America and around the world, not knowing how it's going to be received in the theaters?
I think you make that to show a different image of Black culture or Haitian culture. So I think of my audience first. And then if it goes further than my community or my niche audience, then that's great. But that's the first community that I want to make something that has some type of dignity, that the films have some, they have agency. It shows us of like solving our problems instead of just like having a savior come solve our problems. So those are the kind of films that I'm inspired to work on, or to create, or to even to curate. That's what I aim to do.
So what is it like working with some of the actors and actresses in the films?
I mean, for me now, I think since I do a lot of documentary, it's based on trust and relationships. So I think that's really important with the people that you're interviewing, that they feel like you're gonna take care of their story, because they're giving you their life story a lot of times. So I think that's really important, and to be authentic, you know, and let them know that you're gonna. And I think that's somewhat what, you know, narratives is a little different since it's artificial, but it's still of getting the best performance out of your actor or your actress. So I think it's like really pay attention to detail, give them several ways for them to perform, and they will give you the best performance. You know, you may tell them to do a line slower or faster, or and just see and let them, you know, it's co-creation between the director and the actor. So I think once you give them opportunities for them to be actors, you know, because I think a lot of directors are used to, they come on from the technical side. It used to be cameramen, and they may worried about the look. But if you don't have that authentic performance from the actor or the actress, that's what people are going to remember. They're going to remember that.
So what's the difference between the Haitian film and American film to you?
The difference is that it's the culture. It's a different cultural expression. I think there's a beginning, middle, and end, like most stories, but I think a lot of the Haitian films are independently produced. I mean, it's just like if you're talking on the African American culture, on the independent end, then definitely I would say there's definitely similarities in that. I think in Black cinema overall, since the digital revolution, this is a time for us to tell our own stories. And I think post the earthquake, it's been our awakening for, like I'll say, for Haitian cinema, that a lot of filmmakers from the diaspora who are in the States, and they want to find out about their culture. They want to go back, and that's why I shot this documentary called Haiti is a Nation of Artists. It's about Haitian artists creating transformational art after 2010. So as a Haitian American, I didn't see the way, I didn't like how my community was presented in the mainstream. So, and I felt like we had no agency. So that's why that's why I did that documentary, and changing, instead of, most people know the tagline of Haiti is the poorest nation in the Western Hemisphere, where that's why I call it Haiti's a Nation of Artists. Like, there's like artists everywhere. So I just wanted to show a different side, because like being raised in Hollywood, No one tells you about the negative sides. You don't see the homeless. You get here and you find out things. So I just want to show people from so our community, and even when I do African American projects, I try to show the dignity within that, because I think that's important.
So that's your drive to do films?
That's my drive, yeah, because I think being raised in Hollywood, I didn't see those images. I didn't see those images of my mom being a caregiver, knowing people, to work at UCLA as a cook. I didn't see those images. I only saw negative images of the Black community. I think the first film that really made me want to be a filmmaker was when I saw Spike Lee, and I was like in high school, and I was like, oh, just this filmmaker Spike Lee, Malcolm X wanted to make his community better, and he gave his life for that. So I think from seeing that, that's almost been a life pursuit of like, how can you do that? Either filming for other organizations like the NAACP or Black churches. And I've had that happen. I won't say a particular institution, but the institution was a business organization. Like, we're not gonna hire you. You went to CSUN. We hired people from UCLA.
What are your documentaries really saying to the audience, do you think?
My documentaries are saying that we have greatness. We can overcome these obstacles. There's obstacles that are here, but we have a tradition of using what we have and making great things out of it. It's music, or it's film, or it's documentary. I think throughout the African diaspora, you'll find that when you study, my other major was film and Pan-African studies. So I guess from having that understanding and, and seeing that, being in New York, Miami, being in Haiti, going to Africa, I went to Burkina Faso in 2003 for FESPACO, and just seeing that creativity and ingenuity is like, this is the truth,
you have a good documentary or a good film.
Like a narrative, it tells a story. You got to have a beginning, middle, and end. You got to find your stars. Like I remember I went to interview Edward Devar Curry in Miami. He's the biggest Haitian artist in the States. There was this guy, and you just know it. Like you say that movie magic. There's this guy in Haiti that I interviewed, and he was a young guy. He's traveled to like Switzerland and France, and he was that star, and he was, Edward Devar Curry for the Haitian diaspora. But I say in Haiti, this particular artist that was a sculptor, like he was so strong in his opinions and how he felt that, yeah, I say the cream rises to the top. If you working on a project long enough, you'll find those actors or those subject matters that just they just say things that just really resonate with you.
How do you know those actors and actors are for your film?
Usually it's through for me, I get referred to maybe a gallery owner or to somebody else, and like, you should interview this person. So I don't know until I actually meet them and I have these questions, then that's how I know. Or if it's narrative, I find on the audition. I could give 5 actors, these lines, but some of them just bring it to life, or you believe them. I think the most important thing is, that you can believe them, and they just hit the marks. Like, they just blow you away, where you're like, okay, this person needs to be in this movie.
What are some of the actors and actresses that you would like to work with that are famous?
Come on, like, you would love to work with Denzel. Like, he's just like, I think one of those actors, like whatever movie is, he's that character. He changes into that. So, come on, like, that's one of Angela Bassett. I'll have to say Jimmy John Luis, the biggest Haitian actor. I love to work with him. He has this film every year in the film festival, but I'd love to have an opportunity to work with him. And there's there's some more artists that I would definitely he's one of the artists, and like, I would love to definitely work with.
What do you think about women producing, acting, CEO, the whole women movement. What do you think about that?
I think it's great. I think there's a lot of women, there's a lot of diversity. And women, I think they bring something different to storytelling. You know, a certain energy. You know, I had this one filmmaker that won the best film, Kelly Kelly, a couple years ago, and she did this you know, this amazing short film, and how she dealt with this hard subject matter of sexual trafficking in Haiti, but she did it with such sensitivity that it was like, and you know, I really appreciated that. We have a woman director who's probably one of the feature, you know, I mean, one of the best film actually this year, and yeah, she's amazing. She's, you know, Jimmy's in the movie, Jimmy John Louis, but it's about this young girl who's trying to prove her love to her father who lost his son, and just how she's like, I'm valuable and I'm a woman. Just because your son, you know, got kidnapped doesn't mean our love is not important, you know? And he was looking past that because he's looking for his name, where his family name, where's the Durant's is gonna go. But this young girl, she rescued the dad. Women have so much to give. I think great producers, very creative. Most of my board are women. So I think just pushing for excellence, you know. So there's just like, you know, Ava DuVernay. Come on, like look at the issues that she's tackling, but it's done beautifully. You know, you think of Oprah, you think of, you know, I mean, there's so many subject matters that, you know, Black women are, or women in general, that are tackling in our society. You know, from health to film. I think it's a great time for women to this digital revolution to tell their own stories. You know, and I just try to, even as a professor, just provide them the tools. But you know, if they really go in, you know, and learn the craft, I think they can do some amazing things.
So what do you think was next for Haitian films?
I mean, I think right now for us to have a centralized place, that's their next goal, is to have distribution for the Haiti International Film Festival and streaming than just a one-day event. So that's our goal, you know, after this year, is where you could find amazing Haitian films, you know, from the Haiti International Film Festival at one location, and to build, you know, our ecosystem. You know, we have a theater in Haiti, like to screen more films there and to show the value and show our own narrative. Because I think like people don't understand, in Haiti, there's 10,000 NGOs for a population of 10 million people. So you can imagine the stories that come out, you know, are a lot of, you know, not dealing with humanity, or more journalistic, or dealing with poverty porn. And I want to show that we have great artists. We have poets, like let people know about our tradition. You know, I think it's important. Then we can create different things, but I think just to inspire the local citizens to, I mean, live their best life. If you have to see something that inspires you, and I think cinema is a great way of doing that.
So what's your next project?
My next project is actually, it's a film called Dear Mama. It's about my mom, you know, Haitian immigrant who left Haiti, moved to New York, and left a relationship that was, you know, that wasn't the most positive, but she came out California, started a new life, and raised her kids out here. So I mean, just like a story about redemption, you know. So I want to show that side, you know, of like, you know, that people don't really get to see in the Haitian American experience. So I want to show the humanity, and just how she became a businesswoman and was able to, you know, raise her children out here, and be able to, you know, when I'm a filmmaker running a film festival, you know. So I think it's important to speak about that, speak about your, you know, your grandmother who sold Haitian food in the attic in Brooklyn when she just came here in a basement, you know. Then your mom becoming a caregiver and a business owner. Then now you're a filmmaker and you're able to reach the world, you know, and change that, but still show, like, give your community something that's quality. You know, and I think that's the thing that is like, you know, I didn't see these images of our community like making a contribution, because I think it's important that we tell our own narratives.
Yeah, you think it's difficult to promote the festival at a time where like the corona situation is occurring now?
I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I mean, it is difficult, but I think like I'm reaching more of a global audience. Like I'm reaching people from France right now who are like, we'd like you to have your film festival next year there. This lady from Martinique who runs it's called the Pavilion Afrique. So like having those conversations on Zoom, and I'm part of like the Haiti Tech Summit, and meeting like people who are ambassadors there, and like making an impact and showing like, let's show our film, let's show if we want to change the image of Haiti or the Haitian diaspora, I think film is one of the best mediums for that. And I'm able to reach out to people in other countries that are connecting with me. I have a film from Bikini Faso this year that was like, it was on film, I got it on Film Freeway. And, I think that's amazing, that I'm able to get panelists. Like people are I think right now, people are more available. And I think they're willing to do things about culture and history now. That I think before that people just overlooked before, but now people want something that has substance.
What are some of the people that are on the panel for the Haitian Festival for 2020? And could you tell us about them?
Okay, the producers panel, our moderator is Florence Regina. She's a producer, she's an actress. We have Dominique Telson, that's a producer for Astute Films, and she has produced many films in Hollywood, especially Black Hollywood. And we have Janae Desiree. She actually is a media executive at CAA, the Creative Artists Agency. So we just want to teach people about the business side and how to be successful. So that's one of our panels. Then we have a second panel. We have the Haitian Creatives panel, and the moderator is Karen Civil, and she's just an amazing entrepreneur, and has done so many things for the community, and just like really understands like the media landscape. So that's what we have her as the moderator. And then we have Gene Ellie. He's Emmy nominated actor on the show Insecure. He's an actor and a producer. And we have Michelle Stevenson. She's actually a documentary filmmaker, and she's Emmy nominated for this documentary. Yeah, our second panel is the Haitian Creatives panel, and our moderator is Karen Civil. She's an amazing entrepreneur, has worked with Nipsey Hussle, has worked with Lil Wayne, and we have Gene Ellie. He's Emmy nominated off Insecure, so he's very talented Haitian American actor. And we have Michelle Stevenson, great documentary filmmaker. She has a film right now that's Emmy nominated. It's called American Promise, and now she has a film called Stateless that's in the film festival circuit. So we have from the Haitian creatives to show you this is how you can tell your story and how people are doing well within the industry and independently, and the business perspective, because I think it's important for our community to learn about the business side. And myself being a producer, I think that's what gives you longevity, understanding the business and the creative side.
What can the people expect for the Haitian Film Festival 2021?
I mean, expect to see some amazing films, expect to see some, just it's an amazing cultural experience to see films that have agency, that shows the Haitian community, with the strength, with its resilience, with its integrity. So if that's what you want to see, want to learn something different than what you see from mainstream, I mean, that's the purpose of the film festival, is to show a positive image of Haiti through film and art.
And as we close, what do you want your legacy to be after you leave the industry?
I want to be somebody who made a contribution when I was here. At the time that I was here, I tried to show the Haitian community and the African diaspora in a different light that I know is different. So if I'm able to do that and build some institutions that last, the Haiti International Film Festival, later on the distribution, and maybe online film school. I think that those are I want to educate the next generation. I want them to have some opportunities that I had, because I see now like a lot of those opportunities are being squandered now. How being first generation college student, being first in my family to get my BA and get my master's, and it just made me see like, whoa, a lot of these things happen because we had somebody like Tom Bradley who built all these institutions, working on that documentary. Like, we have to continue the legacy. Jacquil Robinson, we have a lot of people who have done things, but people know the Black community as icons, but not so much know the person. And that's kind of why I want to show, like, yeah, it's great that we know these icons, but with these films, let's get to know who they are so we can motivate people that they can do it and they're just not an icon. I think we just need to show more success models, So I think that's what if I'm able to do that, touch more people, then I've done my job, and it made the world better than what I entered or created some spaces that I'm a creator. So where I am, either it's on the business end or making films, I try to create spaces to motivate us. You know what I mean? Because I was given that. I was given an environment where, my mom had, books and information to inspire me to be the best that I could be, and never told me that I couldn't do it. Because when there's not too many, even Black or even Haitians in the, film industry, but now there are a lot more, But for us, I think, to work together as a community and see all the resources that we have, and we can do this. And I believe in us, and we just need to believe in ourselves, and I think we have greatness.
And what do you think about the Black Lives Matter?
I think it's great. It's made a big change. You know what I mean? Like, even my students don't want to post things because it's Black Lives Matter. I was like, whoa, that's impactful. That they're like, no, we want to respect what's happening in the Black community. Having people come talk to me, how do you feel as a Black man, being an educator or a filmmaker? So I think it's brought up our value. Being on panel discussions to talk about the Black or the Black diaspora experience, and now people are asking for things that are more tangible, than just symbolic things. Like, are you going to do real prison reform? Are you going to really give us resources so we could do these projects and not just have you have this one person, right? Or you just have this tokenism. I think people are, and that's one thing I have to say with the young people, they're asking deeper questions. They're like, we don't want just superficial things. So, I mean, they're pushing you where you, as an educator, a Black educator, Black professional, you have to talk about that too. And showcase that in your work. And I think they've created a podium. I think we were always doing the work, but it wasn't like we were getting the spotlight that we're getting now. And I think people are thinking differently. Like, they want something, like, people are talking about starting funds. You haven't heard about, Black creators starting funds, or like the NAACP when they started a long time ago. But now filmmakers like, no, we need the resources, and we want to tell our own stories. We don't want somebody else always retelling our stories. So I think it just became more of an ownership thing. Like, we're controlling our spaces. We're being more accountable to each other, I think, more than ever that I'm seeing. And we're asking other cultures step there with us. And that's the thing I've noticed. Like when I went to Fairfax, I actually went to one of the protests. And when I saw there were white kids, they were young. They're young men and women who was there to advocate for black men to not being treated as a second-class citizen. And when I saw that, that just kind of like, whoa, this thing is different. This is not like your regular civil rights movement that I think the black community felt like that was their sole responsibility. But I think from that extreme situation that we saw this man being killed and screaming for his mother, that, that was something that like people can be like, no, that's not okay. And I try to, at least in spaces out on social media, talk about these type of difficult issues because at the end of the day, we're dying. You know what I mean? So it's like, you can't just continue not to, you being silenced is like you're almost complicit in it, So I think like it makes people be accountable, responsible, and like, how are we going to make our future different?
Thank you for joining me today. Is there anything you would like to say to the world before you go?
Yeah. Please remember to check out this film festival. This is our 5th annual film festival, and we got some amazing films for you. So we want you to go on Xerb TV and just support it. You need to support black entrepreneurs, black businesses, Haitian businesses. Haiti got its independence in 1804. It was the first black republic. And its thing was to keep every black country, anything where black people were, for them to have freedom, because we were experienced slavery already. So I think that's the thing. I think of Toussaint. He was like, you want to talk about a businessman, for him to be able to get freedom for ex-slaves, that's something that drives me. I have paintings in my house right now of Jean-Jacques Dessalines, of Alexander Pichon, these Haitian generals that they had to go a long way for us to be free. So let's use our freedom to do something for our community and show the humanity of Haitian culture to the world and the African diaspora. Hello, my name is Jacquil. I'm the Executive Director of the Haiti International Film Festival. I want to thank A-List Entertainment for doing such an excellent job for the community, and just keep doing the great work you're doing.